Visit us online at burningrubberradio.com for recipes from the NASCAR chef, John Dix, and more great content.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, that dang old internet, man, you just go on there and point and click, 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 click. It's real easy, man.
Now back to more Burning Rubber Radio.
Rockingham is in the books. We thought Jesse Love had it, but we got some news coming up on that. Plus, some inductees into the Hall of Fame, at least as far as the ballot is concerned. It's producer Wayne, Andy DeLay. It's the Monday edition of Burning Rubber Radio. And, Andy, we might as well kick it off here right off the take. And, you know, because Hall of Fame season, this is the time of year when those nominations are coming around. And two people that, honestly, I feel are long overdue to be nominated, or at least go up for votes to get in the Hall of Fame, have been officially announced as nominees for the class of 2026.
Well, you know, you got me on the edge of my seat because I didn't see that. Who the hell are they, brother?
One of them being a good friend of the show and Randy LaJoy. And
oh, cool.
The other one being another friend of the show, Kurt Busch.
Very nice. Kurt Busch going up for the Hall of Fame. Now, there's going to be some folks that don't like that. I'm sure Jimmy Spencer might think otherwise. But,
yeah.
if you look back at the day when he went over there and punched him in the mouth at the side of his car, if you remember that.
That dates all the way back to what, 2003, I think? Was it 2003 in the 98 when he was in the Sharpie car? I think.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was back.
Yeah,
back in the early 2000s in the Sharpie car in the 98 when he was way early in his career. So, and of course, Spencer was on the way out. Kurt was on the way in. And, yeah, Jimmy just didn't like the way he raced him that day. And he's just like,
that's right.
Wham!
He cracked him in the mouth there. So, anyway, man, that's good to hear. And that's who do you think's going to get the ballot?
Personally, I'm hoping because they do two different Hall of Fame votes where you have the fan vote, then you have the panel vote, and typically they induct three different people every single year: two normals, two legacy, and then they have like a Legends Award and other things like that. So I would love to see them both get the nod for this year to go in. And then, and then somebody else too, actually. Now, this is another good one here. So returning nominees for 2026 will be Greg Biffle, Neil Bonnet, Tim Brewer, Jeff Burton, Randy Dorton, Harry Gant, Harry Hyde, and Jack Sprague.
So Biffle's up for this?
Biffle is actually a returning nominee. He was on the ballot last year.
Buddy, Biffle... When he was driving, I could care less about Biffle. Honestly, really, him and Matt Kenseth, I really couldn't give a crap about. But ever since Biffle went out there and helped after the storms in North Carolina, heck, did you see this past weekend on Easter? He had his helicopter out there with the Easter Bunny, dropping, out of the side of the helicopter to the needy families. He was throwing candy. So. Listen,
that's cool.
Greg Biffle is a hero and definitely needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
And not to mention that he still remembers the little interaction he had with us from years ago.
Oh my God,
when he was down
hilarious.
You said he was down at what, Freedom Factory down there in Florida, and all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, what's up, Andy? Burning Rubber, baby!"
I can't believe it. One of our listeners out there, one of our Florida guys went down there and was actually talking about us to Biffle, and Biffle remembered who we were.
Yep.
Well, who could forget these two fat asses here, buddy?
That's so true. That's so true. And but now somebody else too, while I'm thinking about it, that is actually up for a nomination this year as well. Humpy Wheeler from Charlotte Motor Speedway is on tap here. Let's see, where was it? I was actually just double checking the article here. He is up for. Why is it? I had the line saved and I lost it all of a sudden.
Oh well.
Here we go. Nope. He was selected for voting consideration for the Landmark Award for outstanding contributions to NASCAR, and there's no doubt in my mind that Humpy has actually earned that distinguished honor.
Yeah, definitely. He did a lot during his days.
He has definitely done a lot of stuff when it comes to the world of NASCAR, especially for SMI and Charlotte Motor Speedway. So hopefully Humpy gets it. Hopefully Kurt gets it. Hopefully Randy gets it. Though I would love to see Biff get in this time around.
Oh yes.
If I had to pick my legacy driver out of everybody else that was up for consideration, aside from Busch, LaJoie, and Biffle, I personally would love to see Harry Gant, Jack Sprague, and Neil Bonnet take the Legends entries.
I agree. Yes, definitely. I agree with the 100%.
And so we got a whole lot of stuff with the Hall of Fame guys, and we won't actually find out all of the final voting tallies until after Coke 600 weekend. So we still got quite a few weeks until all of the voting has subsided and we find out who the class of 2026 is going to be.
You know what, Wayne? Everyone out there watching this, please follow us. If you're watching on YouTube, follow us there. Facebook, wherever you're at, follow us. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us out, helps us bring you all of our content week in and week out. So please do that. And also, really quick, Wayne, before we move on, do you see the big hand mark on the side of your head where you got smacked by the land of NASCAR outcasts?
Yeah, Floyd up the Grove. Here's my response to you.
Oh my God, folks! If you want to also follow what's going on the inside of NASCAR from an insider's point of view, check out the land of NAP, NAPCAR, NASCAR Outcasts on Facebook. And please don't go in there with thin skin.
No, you got to come in there with thick skin, ready to fight the good fight. And
oh my God, yes. Fanboys, fangirls need not apply, baby.
Exactly.
Throw that on your ass.
Yeah, Floyd, they got on my ass about a misstep I made again last week with talking about Kyle Larson, how he was with Ganassi and not Richard Petty. And if I remember correctly, I don't think I said he raced for Richard Petty. I do believe that I had said if he were to have gotten into something like RPM equipment. I'll go back and watch the video just to double check and make sure what I said, but I have a feeling that's what I said. And Floyd, being Floyd, decides to jump my ass for no reason. Love you, sorry, pain in my ass.
Oh my God. Anyway, folks, all right, Wayne, you can continue on. I had to interject there with that.
Right, exactly. Well, one last thing when it comes to the Hall of Fame stuff, folks. Like I said, fan voting is open right now. If you go over to NASCAR.com, you can cast your fan vote ballot right now on NASCAR.com. So do make sure to go and get those votes in there, and let's see who we can get in there for the Hall of Fame class of 2026. Moving on here, and speaking of a Hall of Fame track, Andy, we are back at the Rock, baby.
We were this past weekend. And I'm telling you what, that was
Trucks,
great.
Xfinity. We had a triple threat at Rockingham this past weekend. Personally, I would have loved to have seen Cup back there, but thankfully somebody got the hint last year after the Bristol race not to race on Easter Sunday. And so...
Which was great. It was an excellent weekend, and Rockingham, the truck race was the fuel mileage race, and Corey Heim gets snake bit yet again.
Yep.
Just goes out there and whips the field and has the truck to beat and can't close at the end. Yeah, he's won twice this year, but poor guy, man. Tyler Ankrum gets his first win since 2019, his second of his career with McNally Hilgerman Racing, and that was, did I say that Hilgerman or Hilgerman? I don't know.
No, it's McAnally Hilgerman Racing.
There you go. You're always good for correcting my crappy names.
Well, hey, you know what? Just like Floyd's good for calling me out on stupid shit that don't even matter.
I can't wait to see anyway.
Either which way, but yeah, no, Ankrum in that truck race this past weekend at Rockingham Speedway broke a 130 race drought as far as wins are concerned. Like you said, it's his second in his career. And with that, winning the Black's Tire 200 at Rockingham, that actually propels him up just a little bit here as far as the Truck Series points are concerned. And, Andy, you've got the breakdown over on SeriouslyFastMotorsports.com of all of that stuff from this past weekend at Rockingham and then upcoming this weekend at Talladega.
Talladega trucks won't be running their off until May 2nd, I think it is.
I think so. We'll double check the schedule and we'll get back to you guys on clarification on that one here. But Corey Heim still sitting on top of the point standing, so it's still Heim time as far as the trucks are concerned. Chandler Smith sitting second. Tyler Ankrum with that win progresses to third. Daniel Hemrick down to fourth, or moves up to fourth this week. Lane Riggs moves up to fifth. And after a rough run at the Rock, Ty Majeski is down 3 positions, Andy, to sixth overall. Jake Garcia bumps up 3 spots to seventh. Grant Enfinger down 1 to eighth. Caden Honeycutt up 2, sits in ninth place. And Stuart Friesen rounds out the top 10 down 2 positions.
Talking about Stuart Friesen, poor guy had a rough day at Rockingham. When he was after the race, they were talking to him and he was talking about throwing in the towel. Did you hear that?
I did not know.
Yeah, he was very dejected, had a rough time. And, he's a single man team, basically a privateer. The Friesen and his wife run that truck.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, he said he doesn't think it's worth it getting out there and wrecking his equipment. And he said he'll never run in Cup and he'll never run the Xfinity Series, the trucks, kind of like Matt Kraft, and the Truck Series is where it's at for him.
Yep.
And let's hope that he doesn't throw the towel in, because he is an awesome racer and a regular staple in the Truck Series.
Most definitely. And you know what's funny is I pass by his shop every single day here in Statesville. And I see those guys hard at work every single day, prepping the truck, getting the hauler ready to go for the next race, whatever the case might be. So, hopefully they don't throw in the towel. But I mean, obviously time will tell. We'll just have to wait and see what happens when the bell rings, more or less. And a couple other standouts in the point series, or the point standings rather, for the Craftsman Truck Series here, Andy. Gio Ruggiero is up 2 positions to 11th overall, the rookie coming into the Truck Series full time this year. Yep. Another notable name, Ben Rhodes, down 3 spots to 12th.
That's crazy. Ben Rhodes usually right up front, right up top of the standings. I got a feeling that you're going to hear Ben Rhodes more about him before the end of the year, and that's not in a bad way.
No,
Ben Rhodes will.
And actually, speaking of Matt Crafton too, he's actually down 2 spots to 17th in points overall after Rockingham. So,
man, I tell you, my last week, my article on SeriouslyFastMotorsports.com, which, by the way, folks, my article's going out again this week. I called on Matt Crafton to be the guy to beat at Rockingham because he's the only one that's ever raced a truck on that track before. So, but not too good.
Yeah, not too good overall, but hey, you know what? Time will tell to see what happens when those guys come back. And actually, speaking of scheduling and other things like that, I was able to get the confirmed schedule for the Craftsman Truck Series. And well, that is if NASCAR.com would stop refreshing and being a pain in my ass. So their next race, May 2nd, the SpeedyCash.com 250 at Texas Motor Speedway. So you're right on that one, Andy. It'll be Friday, May 2nd at 8 p.m. on FS1. So do be on the lookout for the trucks when they come back in prime time action. And another one we're going to talk about moving forward here into the Xfinity Series, since Cup was off this weekend for Easter Sunday, which, again, I'm glad the fans finally got through to NASCAR and it was made official that they were not going to race on Easter Sunday, because there's no reason to, just my personal opinion. But, long after the checkered flag waved at Rockingham in the Xfinity Series, everybody thought Jesse Love had that win. And they got him down into post-race tech and found that there was an issue with the car. And with that, a disqualification came about, and Sammy Smith of Junior Motorsports was handed the win this past weekend at Rockingham.
He was handed the win. He also was handed a $100,000 check for the bonus that they got. What is that? The Dash for Cash, something like that.
Yeah, it's the Xfinity Dash for Cash series.
Yeah. Anyway, man, so he had a good time. But Jesse Love took it in stride on his post on social media right after. It said that he has a safe in his house in which that trophy will be locked up in, and good luck for NASCAR trying to get it back.
Hey, you know what? Hey, I'm all for it. I mean, the more you look over at the article and everything like that here. So, of course, like we said, Sammy Smith was awarded the win of the North Carolina Education Lottery 250 after that number 2 Chevrolet of Jesse Love was deemed to have violated. And the way they bring this up here, the rule book section that he violated, Rule 14.14.2.I-5.H. How many fucking rules do you need to have that many subsections in the rule book? I mean, am I wrong?
I know, and it was something about 2 parts in the chassis didn't touch or something like that.
I think this was the thing here. So Eric Peterson, series director, he says all mating surfaces of those parts need to be in complete contact with each other, and unfortunately, they violated that rule and were disqualified. So back to what you said there, where all certain parts on the chassis have to be touching at all times, but I sit there and I think about that. I'm like, I know they go through like an X-ray style machine when they're going through tech and everything like that. But how in the absolute hell are you going to know that every part is touching at every single point?
I don't know. I'm not one of those NASCAR geek guys that get up underneath the car. Hell, I'm surprised they're not scoping the engines and stuff. I mean, geez.
I'm starting to wonder the same thing, but oh, good Lord. Like I am not thrilled with the way that is all set up there with that rule book. Like there are just too many little itty bitty bullshit rules in my opinion. And we have our beef with NASCAR from time to time where, things like this happen. And, I'm not afraid to call them out and say, look, NASCAR, instead of having like subsection upon subsection upon subsection upon subsection upon subsection, make some clear as day rules where there is not these little itty bitty fine print things where people have to continuously hunt and make sure, I might actually get dinged for the 50th subsection of the 60th rule and the 55th bullet point. Like, do away with all that crap. Make an actual subset of rules that are easy enough for everybody to follow. Not just when it appeases you to find a little bullet point 600 pages into the damn rule book.
Hey, man, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not NASCAR, and they're going to run their thing the way they run it. So.
They are, but again, that's just my take on it. And then one last bit of news we can touch on for the week here. ARCA was also at Rockingham this past weekend.
Hey, who was that with our running in that race this weekend? Don't you? One of our folks. Patrick Staropoli.
Oh, he was he now?
Yes, he was. Patrick was running in that race. Patrick ran at Bristol in the trucks, too. Hell, I didn't know that until I was looking at...
I had no idea Patrick was going to be in the ARCA race at the Rock this past weekend, but...
Me either.
And actually, now we're going to have to go figure out where he finished at, but either which way, the big one to talk about, though, is Brent Cruz taking home the win from this past weekend at the Rock.
Correct, Mungo. Brent Cruz wins the ARCA race at the Rock, and be honest, I didn't watch that one or listen to that. So I couldn't tell you if it was a fuel mileage fiasco or if it was just a straight up race.
From what I could tell just by reading over things here is that, looky here, Andy.
What?
Patrick Staropoli, 4th place.
Oh my God, Patrick, we got to call. I'm going to call him when we get off the air today.
Right.
Good job.
So your top 5 is officially as follows here: Brent Cruz, William Sawalich, Eloy Falcon. Never heard of that name
Never
before.
heard of him.
Patrick Staropoli in 4th, and Andy Jankowick in 5th.
There's an old name. So, yeah, good job. See what he gets for yelling, burning rubber, baby? Hell, and sitting here and co-hosting and stuff like that. Oh, my God. So, oh my gosh, good job, Patrick. I'm so proud of you.
I know, right? We got stuff to really be proud of when it comes to Patrick Staropoli on that one here. And the other interesting news too. Speaking of all of that stuff here with the Xfinity Series, they'll be at Talladega this weekend with the NASCAR Cup Series. So we'll be talking about them here more in detail in just a second as the schedule loads, because obviously NASCAR.com is slow as can be. And yes, folks, you heard me say it right. NASCAR.com is slow. It is bulky. And but they'll be at Talladega Superspeedway this weekend as well in the Ag Pro 300. And that race will be at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, April 26th on the CW. So do be on the lookout for that one.
I got one thing to tell you about that. Yeah, this week I'm sitting there watching my YouTube stuff, and Cletus McFarland down here that runs the Freedom Factory in Bradenton, Florida. Folks know who Cletus is. He has a badass truck, that the number 3 truck, he calls it the Dale truck. Well, it's twin turbo, things got more horsepower than you can shake a stick at. They took it up the Talladega Speedway and brought Dale Earnhardt Jr. in there and put him in the thing. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. is freaking running down the backstretch, like a drag strip. Impressed the hell out of him. But the thing is that Dale laid some serious rubber going down the backstretch. And so, of course, I seen this thing, and I was all like excited. I get on the phone, and I call up Bobby Dale Earnhardt. I was like, did you see what your uncle was doing in Cletus's truck? So he even saw it, and he was all excited about it. So, anyway, what I'm getting at is I want folks, when you see the races this weekend at Talladega, those big black marks going down the backstretch is where Dale Jr. was out there doing burnouts in Cletus's truck. It was awesome, man.
Well, it's like the old saying goes, raise hell, praise Dale.
Raise hell, praise Dale, man. Because Junior came back from the run, and he's patting the top of the top of the door frame there where, his dad's name is Dale Earnhardt. He's like, yeah, baby, the Dale truck.
Oh, man, that's some good stuff to see. But real quick here, running down the Xfinity Series points after Rockingham this past weekend. Justin Allgaier still sits on top of the point standings. Sam Mayer over in 2nd place here. Austin Hill gets himself a 1-position bump to 3rd in the points. Jesse Love with that disqualification down to 4th. Another buddy of the show, Carson Quapple, Andy, up 1 spot to the top 5 in the point standings.
Good for him.
Brandon Jones is up 1 into 6th. Connor Zilic down 2 to 7th. Sammy Smith with that win propels up 2 to 8th. Ryan Sieg remains steady in 9th. And Sheldon Creed rounds out the top 10 when it comes to the Xfinity Series.
The perennial Mark Martin, Sheldon Creed, always finishing 2nd.
Yeah, pretty much.
Poor guy.
You're right. Feel bad. I feel bad for Sheldon. I do. But either which way, one last thing we're going to touch on here, folks, and we had it up on our Facebook page this past weekend, but it actually is good to talk about it while we're on the air here too. Venturini Motorsports after 2025 is no more. They have officially sold all of their stakes to Nitro Motorsports. And in the 2026 season, all of Big Bill's cars will officially be Nitro Motorsports.
I tell you, that is something. There's somebody, well, I guess it's not the NASCAR Hall of Fame, but hell, some motorsports Hall of Fame.
Right.
Big Bill, he's been around and talking about a down-to-earth guy. I love him. Just great
and honestly,
stuff.
it's sad to see him have to sell off the team because, that knowing how much of a staple Big Bill Venturini has been to the ARCA Menard series over the last 20 some odd plus years, to see that team going out and being sold off, I know part of it was the fact that Big Bill was ready for retirement. But
Of course.
in the same right, you have to look at how bad things are overall with economy and other stuff like that to make somebody who has been around that long finally say, okay, it's time.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, we still have his daughter Wendy Venturini on pit road.
Yeah, that we do. And actually, you know what? I learned something about Wendy the other day too, Andy, that blew my mind. You know, she is like a financier partner in Winston at a gym called the Burn Boot Camp.
That's the place you haven't been to. That's very obvious.
Hey, just because I don't go to a gym doesn't mean I don't work out. Thank you very much.
That's true. Picking those Big Macs up. One. Love you too, man.
Yeah, I love you too, you asshole. But
I am.
You're only an asshole when you don that uniform. You're not supposed to be an asshole there. But either which way, folks, we have got to get out of here for another week of Burning Rubber Radio on the Monday edition here.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You forgot to talk about our pillow folks and Joey Coulter.
Well, that's the thing. We're going to go take a nap here in just a second, but...
Oh.
See, he gets ahead of me here, folks, and he makes me just want to reach over here and... Oh, the invisible hand that chokes. I love it. But either which way here, folks, yeah, we got to talk about Drive Refine. Make sure you visit driverefine.com. driverefine.com, driverefine.com. And again, they work with everybody. Real racers, simulation racers, no matter what kind of racing you do, make sure you hit up Joey Coulter. He'll do all the research and all the fun stuff and help you become better as far as a competitor and communicator with your crew chief, your crew, and your team. That website again, driverefine.com. And remember, folks, it's not just driver coaching, it's Drive Refine.
Drive Refine.
Close enough.
Close.
And then last two sponsors we're going to talk about this week, because I know Andy will kill me if I don't mention myself, even though I don't like to. Lightning Fast Transportation. If you go over to lftrides.com or facebook.com/LFT Rides, you can book a ride here in the Statesville, North Carolina area, Iredell County, North Carolina. If you need a ride to the airport, school, work, store, whatever the case might be, LFT Rides is the place to go. And the best place to do it right now is facebook.com/LFT Rides.
And then that big fat son of a bitch will show up and take your ass to the airport.
I'm gonna kill him later. Don't worry. Don't worry, folks. I'll hurt him later. And but either which way, our last sponsor of the show here for the week before we go take our nap. Actually, no, it is time to take that nap. Matter of fact, MyPillow. Make sure you go check out mypillow.com/BRR and use the promo code BRR at checkout to get your order delivered for free. And it's the biggest sale ever going on right now, folks. MyPillow, my slippers, my towels, chamois, whatever you can think of, MyPillow has got it all for you. Again, mypillow.com/BRR and use the promo code BRR at checkout to get that order delivered for free. I'm producer Wayne. That's Andrew DeLay. We'll see you Friday for the Gas and Go as we head into Talladega, baby.
Burning rubber, baby.
Yeah.